I'm going to practice a thought exercise with you. Let's go back in time. Let's go back to when you were a newly minted teacher and you were searching for your first assignment. You had to do that interview. It was nerve-wracking. Maybe you even got a call back for a second round. They chose your application, they plucked it from the pile, submitted your name to HR, and then you got the call. Now, you probably already had a certification from your state, but that call meant that you were an official, bona fide teacher. What's next? In my experience, I've been a new teacher 4 times. Have they been all great? Have they been all good? I won't tell you exactly how old I am, but I will give you some clues in the following. When I started teaching, I took attendance with a pencil in a grade book that I had to turn in at the end of the year. I had to send students to the library to check out an AV VCR cart to show Titanic that I rented from Blockbuster because Hollywood Video was completely out. And I had to walk all the way to the front office to make a phone call because we didn't have phones in the classroom. Today, we have phones in our pockets, we have phones on our wrist. The one thing that we have not modernized is how we do new teacher orientation. See if this sounds familiar. You show up, you fill out your paperwork, you sign your contract, you fill out your W-4, they throw a bunch of things at you about health and benefits, and you figure them out later with your significant other or on your own, and then they expect you to go to work. How does that work out? How well does that work out? New teacher orientation can be done in many different ways. I've had the new teacher orientation format where you've also gone to your campus, and that can be as varied as there are sands on the seashore. Some schools are like, here's the faculty restroom, and other schools are like, this is our discipline matrix, and they roll it out to you. Current new teacher orientation has us putting knowledgeable, intelligent people who are ill-prepared in classrooms. It is compounded in urban school districts by making it even more difficult for children who are already so vulnerable. To check my tracking, to make sure my thinking was correct, I went to an international teacher forum and I asked them some questions. You may know this forum as Facebook teacher groups. Here's the question I posted. Thinking back to new teacher orientation, what didn't your district cover? Because this is a private one and some teachers are still working, I have covered their names and their faces to protect the innocent. How important relationship building with your student is. Wouldn't that be great if we all walked in knowing that? How to work the online systems, grade book, service tracking, referrals, etc. That was a huge hurdle to overcome in my first month. Remembering back to that first month, did you really have time to learn that while you're working classroom management? No, so what gives? Most of the real basic day-to-day protocol that we would be expected to know and use to make us part of the regular staff. No new teacher orientation for me. What I'm asking us to do is to think about how we do new teacher orientation. What do we use that time for? How do we effectively use it? Do we provide best practices? Do we teach organization? Do we teach classroom management skills? Do we teach the things that teachers are going to need to be successful from the very first days of school? I wondered about this, and I thought about this, and I thought about the impact that not having an effective new teacher orientation actually has in our world. And you're probably thinking to yourself, Ms. Hunter, there's over 1,200 school districts in Texas. Surely this is the exception and not the rule. I'm sure most school districts are doing a really great job training those new teachers and giving them the skills that they need. This was in the Houston Chronicle, April 2nd of last year. Texas hits a 5-year high in the number of teachers faulted for leaving mid-year. Here's a secret. That's only the districts that did paperwork. We will never know the true number. I'm not talking about those teachers who are leaving because their spouse or significant other has a job change and they have to transfer. I'm not talking about those people who receive a major health diagnosis. I'm talking about everyday teachers who are struggling, who just throw in the towel and say, I can't do this anymore. I work with schools. I'm an independent contractor. I'm not hired by districts. I'm hired by principals. I teach systems only. That's all I teach. With a cultural lens, I teach you how to set up your classroom. I teach you how to teach kids how to sharpen pencils, how to pass papers up and back, how to make phone calls, positive or corrective, to a parent. I've seen an increase in inquiries and contracts in the 2019-20 school year. I've had more than in the last 4 years combined. There's an epidemic. We are sending teachers into classrooms ill-prepared, and we are expecting them to spin straw into gold. I went back to my forum once again to see if my thinking is right and I'm tracking like I'm supposed to be. And this is the question that I posted. Who has had a teacher on your campus leave mid-year 2019, 2020? That's this year. In this room, who's had someone leave? At least one person leave. Yeah. Florida, middle and high school, all grades. 3 teachers, 3 pairs, and we are a small school. That's a shame. 8 teachers or instructional assistants have left since October. The last one quit last Friday, K through 8 charter in Illinois. I've lost count after 11. Houston, Texas. Who can change this system? How can this system change? The people in power. That's who can change the system. Well, who are they? They are you and me. And you may be saying, Ms. Hunter, I don't have any power. I'm a classroom teacher. I'm a parent. If you are a pre-service teacher or early career educator, then you have to insist that when you go into training, it's not just something you can read in an email. It has to be bona fide, trusted, classified information that you need to be able to work with your students. If you are the person who is training or presenting, then you need to ask those in power, I need some time to teach those things that are truly important. We will check the boxes and we will do the paperwork, but how can I get in that business that they're really going to need? If you are in charge of, as we call it now, talent acquisition and retention, think about the bottom line. How much does it cost to train a teacher, hire a teacher, then train a teacher, and hire a teacher, and then train a teacher, and hire a teacher for the same position over and over again? From a business sense, that's not even cost effective. What can you do? I'm asking you today, as you go back to your districts and as you go back to your campuses, to use what power that you have. To say, this is the kind of training we want. This is someone that we found. We want restorative circles. We want to know more about trauma. We want to know more about children of color. We want to know more about children living in poverty. We want to know more about refugee children. We want to know more about immigrant children. Because if we continue to send teachers in unprepared, they're going to do what people always do when it's too hard, unfortunately. They quit. As we leave here today and make different decisions and hopefully try to be that game changer and get the power moving in the right direction so that teachers are being prepared, especially for that week that sometimes some places is known as the wasted week, that you are influencing those people who have more influence so that we can all do something very powerful. There's a group that's been mentioned a couple times today that also has power, and that is our parent group. I encourage parents to attend PTAs, to attend other committees on the campus, especially with Title I funding. You have the right to decide what your teachers are learning. And you have to demand and lobby your trustees and say, before they begin engaging with students, I want them prepared. New teacher orientation. I want the consequences of new teacher orientation to be that we are putting stronger, better, lifelong educators in classrooms in front of kids than what it is right now, the loss of more teachers. Thank you.